This is Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Phillippi. My guest today is Rebecca Kiser. Rebecca is a local artist, and I think I've known you longer than you've been painting, maybe. Did I know you pre-painting?
Yes, my pre-painting life.
Right. Well,
Years
welcome
ago.
today.
Thank you.
And it's wonderful to have you here to talk to you because you're an incredibly successful artist.
Thanks.
You really are. I mean, I know you've shown your work locally for many years and currently have a show at Land and Sea Gallery, and you are a consistent bestseller, and I love that.
I love that too. It's been nice.
So do you want to talk a little bit about maybe your background and some things about yourself and how you came to become a painter?
Yeah, it's been a journey, and I have arrived here at an older age than some people, but it's all part of the story. I grew up doing art, being creative. My father was an artist, a commercial artist, back in the 50s, 60s, when everything was done pre-computer, so very different, but creativity was encouraged in our home, and we always had materials and always doing something. And I knew from an early age that I wanted to study art, be an artist, and did study art in college, and married and had a family, raised 5 children, and though I did some art early years, as they got older, that was my life. I put all the creativity into them, but then it was really a wonderful opportunity to get involved in the community with the Mayor's Charity Ball with Ed and Candy Gormley when they would put on their mega productions.
Oh, right.
And they kind of roped me into painting murals in the community center. So for about a decade, I would do these very large murals in the community center that would be then covered up the next week, but it was a great experience. And did sets for theater in my children's schools and at gallery. So that was what I did in the way of painting for a lot of years. And then as the children left home, and I had a mother who needed quite a bit of care, and when she passed 7 years ago, I knew it was time to start getting
Finally,
serious.
a little me time.
Yeah, you know, it's just
I love it.
The right season.
Sure,
and
you bet.
I was prepared because I feel like I really didn't have anything to, not that I didn't have anything to say, but your life experiences give you things that
Absolutely.
Is the well that you tap when you create. So it's been kind of an exciting thing to see that there is life after life. You know,
Life
I'm
after
still here.
Yeah, the life after the empty nest syndrome.
Right.
So because you studied art in college all those years ago, did you go back and do any kind of refreshers, or did you just?
Well, I actually, when I married, I just needed 1 semester to graduate.
Oh, okay.
And that got put off, but I actually just did graduate in April. I did.
Good for you.
Thanks.
And were you able to take an art class?
Well, I had all my majors classes done, thankfully, but I went back and just did the few classes I needed to get the certificate, to get my diploma. And,
Good for you.
And, anyway, it's been, you know, just there's no substitute for just getting in there and doing it. And I would say when I started painting some years ago, things were not, I had a lot to learn, but I learned just by doing and putting out work that now I look at and I'm a little bit embarrassed by it, but that's how you learn, and just hopefully you learn something from every painting.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Sure.
yeah.
I mean, I love so many of the things that you do, and you've got so many different kinds of expressions, you know, some of your flowers, some of your woodsy scenes, but those clouds, you're really a beauty on clouds.
Oh, thank you.
You really have that, I mean, you just get that quality of light that comes through and catch the luminosity. I don't know how to explain it, but you're really good at clouds, I think.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
you want to talk a little bit about some of your inspirations?
Well, I have always been inspired by the sky, and when you live in Oregon, it's a constant parade of beauty and constantly changing, and I have looked at clouds and trees, you know, I mean, there's just inspiration and beauty all around us. And so when I did start painting several years ago, I did really start with the clouds. I use acrylic because I'm impatient and I don't want, I don't want the mess of oil paints. And And that's a challenging medium for painting things like clouds and subtle things. So it's been a good challenge to try to learn to use the materials and manipulate the acrylic.
Do you mean because it dries so quickly?
Because it dries so quickly.
Okay, you don't really have time to, oops, I don't like that.
Right.
Go back and switch it off a little.
Right. So,
Okay.
but with that challenge comes opportunity, and so I feel like I'm finally getting a hold on the materials.
I love it. No, so when you did this show, was that your first solo show?
When I started at Marilyn F. Halter's Gallery a few years ago, I did have an opening. I had a featured artist, but this opportunity at Land and Sea has been the first one really as a solo show. So
I mean, I thought it was wonderful just walking into the gallery and you know, seeing it switched out from the previous artist and how much it, you know, all of your, it just transformed that space and there was a whole different energy. I mean, it's just like so zen, just so calming from you know, somebody with this very vibrant and kind of jangly, I don't know how to describe it, but then walking into yours and you just felt like you were walking into this cool oasis of serenity, and that was really wonderful, actually.
Thanks.
So
And I think that's something I try in my paintings, to have a sense of peace and calm, and but underneath there's a lot of action in the brush strokes, and the action of painting can be very dynamic and very stressful, really, as the artist.
I'm sure it can be, because especially doing acrylics, and if you think, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I'm not loving that, or the perspective is off or something, you start over?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like you can just
start over, and I
white
often,
out the whole thing?
Well, sometimes I take a sander, take my orbital sander, and I just remove half of what's there and start again, and that's the beauty of it. And that's what I love about painting, really, is it's a metaphor for life, that you set out to create something, you have inspiration and you have intent, but then there's a bit of impetuousness, and you pivot, you know, midway through. You see that what you thought you wanted isn't what it wants to be, and I think my paintings have a life cycle. They start out as children, lively and full of hope, and then I get in the teen years, and I'm, you know, we're battling it out, but eventually it reaches maturity and is you know, it is what it wants to be. Although I actually went and picked up a painting from the gallery a couple days ago because it just wasn't quite right, and I took it home and added something, and
Did you?
just took it back this morning. So
Oh, well, we'll see what happens.
So yeah, you know, it is, again, it's just like life. You just there are possibilities, and it can always be improved, and it's an exciting process, creative process.
I think so, for sure. Well, you know, and you are a really creative person, because I know you do flowers also, and all kinds of different things, so you've always got your finger in something. But where you live is, to me, is very inspirational. And, and let's talk a little bit about the Art Harvest Studio Tour coming up.
Yeah.
And you're going to be on the tour?
Yeah.
In your brand new studio?
Well, the studio's not built. In
Well,
fact, it may not even have a foundation by the end of September, but next year. But we are building a studio on our property. And
I saw the plans, and I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And
really
is it your son?
excited. Yeah, our son, the architect, Daniel Kiser, very gifted, and it's been a fun process to do that with him.
Sure.
So hopefully we'll be breaking ground in August.
Well, tell me how you feel about this. Is your first studio tour?
Yes.
So, are you excited, nervous, all the above?
I'm mostly excited.
Good, okay.
Yeah, it's a good challenge, and you know, I enjoy having people in our home, and hopefully they'll come and feel, you know, kind of that peaceful spirit and be inspired. And you know, it's cliche to say that you want people to feel something when you see their art or your art, but I do hope that people feel that.
You know, I think that's one of the reasons that people love the tour so much is exactly that, the opportunity to meet the artist and to see them in their natural habitat. In your case, you know, I know you've painted in your dining room and other different kinds of places, but you know, so yeah, just to see what you do and where you do it and how you live. I think people are very curious about that. As much as they would look at the painting and say, wow, I love that, that's so great, then just being there and seeing you, it makes a connection. And I'm sure that you found that with all the people who buy your work. They love having that connection to you. It's like, oh yeah, I know the artist. Oh yeah, I'm friends with the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I think that's a really big piece of it. So, and I think that this year is going to be off the charts because of the pent-up demand. Because I mean, as a person, I'm in travel, so you know the pent-up demand syndrome is very, very real.
Yes.
And if the studio tour is anything like travel has been, it's going to be very, very overwhelmingly successful, I think, and with lots of people and all of that. So we'll see how it goes. But that's what I would anticipate if I were you is, oh my gosh, I can't believe all these people. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, I'll be happy to welcome them.
That's great. Yeah. So will you have a work in progress?
I'll have my studio set up in my breakfast nook and be working.
And you'll be working a little bit on it as people come and go. I think that's fun.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
And
they can see the mess.
Here's another question for you. Do you do commissions?
I do. I do commissions. It's a little more challenging, but it's kind of fun for me to try and pull out what people are really
like feel into what are we matching the couch cushions or what are we doing here?
Oh, just what is it about the pieces they've seen that that touches them, and try to do that. And I think people have responded well to the paintings that have paths and so forth, because
well, it's like when they set this one up, and I'm sitting here looking at it on the screen, and it looks really different to me than it does looking at it behind you, looking at it on TV. I think, oh my heavens, that's just it really does. It feels like you're going into the light. It's so much different, and I guess that's just standing back from it a little bit, but it's really incredible. I mean, I think you're so amazingly talented.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thanks.
Yes. So anyway, well, Rebecca, I would like to wish you all the success on your upcoming, and encourage everybody watching this to get down to the gallery.
Yeah.
Earth and Sea.
Land and Sea.
Land and Sea. Land and Sea in the old JCPenney building.
Right. On
upstairs,
the mezzanine.
On the mezzanine, where the kids' clothes used to be.
Exactly.
And that's where it is, and it'll be, even after her show closes, she'll still stay up as the previous month's artist. So yeah, it's definitely worth getting over there.
Well, we'd love to see anyone.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynda. Appreciate it.